The indisputable truth about Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, such that makes him tower above his peers in the political space of Nigeria, is traceable to his deep pool of human and material legacies in public administration and the possession of a strong sense of leadership, especially in tough and difficult times. Without exaggeration, the advent of Bola Tinubu on the saddle as governor of Lagos State between 1999 and 2007 laid a very solid foundation for the creation of a super enabling environment for the experience of peace and prosperity by all and sundry who thronged into the city of Lagos regardless of their ethnic background and religious persuasion. In attestation to the quality of leadership in Lagos State over the years.
We're so partisan, we're so political, people miss the point when you talk about it. They look at the person. I think what happened to Lagos was that it got very lucky and got a fellow called Bola Ahmed Tinubu to be governor in 1999. Why do I think this is the case? Again, in 1998, after he returned from exile, I ran into him at an event. In fact, he came to me. I didn't really know him. I knew of the name. And he came to me and said hello and said, look, I wanted to meet you when we were in exile. Whenever Nadeko gathered to say, look, what should we do? Chief Enahor or somebody will invariably say, look, who knows what is on ground in Nigeria? Does anybody know what Utomi think of the subject? And he said, invariably, he would be the one. He would have read what I would have written, and he would offer the Utomi position. And that often was where Nadeko chose to go. And I thought, I said, that's very kind of you all, and blah, blah, blah. So when he was elected governor, he sought me out, and he wanted me to work with his team to develop a view of Lagos.
So were you with the transition working group?
Yes, I was chairman of one of those transition working groups. I actually was the one who made the presentation.
Wow.
At the Sheraton, when he give the I don't know what it was called. I made the statement for the group at the Sheraton. But after that, I was then invited to what was like a retreat of the team that he was going to work with in Ijebu-Ode, a Gateway Hotel in Ijebu-Ode. And subsequently, after he became governor, I used to actually lead the cabinet retreats that they had.
Oh, they were having retreats?
Oh yeah, every quarter in Akodo. Everything that's happening in Lagos was planned back then. That is why my respect and regard for him is extraordinary. And I told somebody this story a few days ago. Why do I think that Bola Tinubu is a leader? In those early days, there was tension. He didn't get along with his deputy. And at one of those retreats we had in Akodo, and of course everybody would talk. In spite of the tension, everything was flowing very smoothly. The deputy was very aggressive in stating her views on things. There would be just quiet, and the conversation would continue as if nothing, either they ignored what she said, or they just politely commented on it and moved on. I said, this is really nice. I'm sure these fellows can manage these differences so well. That went on until one day that the governor had something to run into Lagos for. Not long after he left, these women in the cabinet, the criminals in Sanko, descended on this woman and tore her to pieces. At that moment, it struck me, it is the aura of this Bola Tinubu fellow that's keeping this place working. That was the day he won my respect. And it is all those plans that are played out. They had problems, they had difficult times, there were times when he got too political, and he had the good judgment to pick a successor. Most of us disagreed. We thought he should pick somebody else. We preferred somebody else. He explained his reason. A successor turned out to do pretty decent job. And then again, next step. Again, we saw wisdom in the choice that was made. So, gentleman has my respect. Okay, the great prayer for Lagos is a prayer that essentially harvests from the experience of Lagos. As the Civil War ended, the oil economy was booming. It was the oil that transformed the ports of Lagos. All of the progress that's taking place could have gone to Port Harcourt, located inside the oil area. Well, Lagos has been, in the classic American sense, a melting pot. I said in an interview not long ago that Lagos could probably not have emerged as it emerged if Port Harcourt had not been uncharitable to the Igbos. Even though Port Harcourt can be considered part of Igbo land, that lack of charity towards the Igbos made them turn to the one place that welcomed them wholeheartedly. That place was Lagos. Lagos has profited from it.
And in gratitude to the benevolence of the good people of the state, watch the testimonies of notable and successful personalities, especially from Igbo extraction.
I was born in England, and by the time I was a year old, I was brought to Lagos. And I lived in Lagos till I was 6. Then the Civil War broke out, and I was taken to the east. We stayed in quite a few places before we landed in my father's town, which is Uguta. And then we stayed in the east from 1966 to 1970 and came back to Lagos 71. So the total years I've lived in Igbo land, my native land, is from 1966 to 1971 precisely. By January 1971, we were back in Lagos. So Nigeria for me really is Lagos. I thank God for the openness of some citizens of Lagos. Probably a majority of the citizens of Lagos are very welcoming of other folk and have not made them feel unwelcome. So I thank God for that.
I've spent the last 36 years of my life in Lagos. Okay, so I see myself as a Lagosian. Okay, and the last 25 years we've been here in this building effectively, right in the center of Lagos. So we mix with the community, we understand, the language of the environment, and it will be a pleasure, okay, to work continuously with the government to add value to this society. So, like I mentioned, there's a Code Lagos program. We're very involved with that. There's a Ready, Set, Work program for undergraduates in Lagos, and we're also very much involved. And recently, Lagos also came up with another brilliant idea, Educate Lagos, which is putting practically the library, a rich library, online for youngsters to benefit from. Again, we're happy to partner with Lagos State on such. So our belief is that if we work well with our community, if we work well with the state government, especially where good, honest intention is demonstrated, it's a matter of enlightened self-interest. It actually makes things better for us in the long term. Lagos will continue to get better. That Lagos would build properly on the foundations that have been laid. It's very easy to miss and begin to do things as others do it. So we pray for consistency. We pray that there will be consistency in the path that have been set. I live on the Lekki axis. I enjoy the Lekki road.
I think one of the benefits or great things you find about Lagos is that it's been blessed with good leadership for the past, almost 20 years, or at least since the advent of democracy. Now, so the infrastructure keeps expanding all right, to cope with the population surge that comes into Lagos. Anywhere there's a problem in Nigeria, the first place people think of going to is to come to Lagos. Whether you are Yoruba or you are Igbo or you are Hausa, it's a place that is tolerant for everybody, if you get the point I'm trying to make. It's a place where the economy is strong enough for anybody. So for you to succeed as a real businessman in the past, you had to come here. Some people would go to Kano if you were in the north, but Lagos was where you had the majority of people. So you always had an infrastructure issue. How do you cope with people surging into Lagos every day? Now, the good thing about the governance around Lagos State is that perpetually they've been expanding the infrastructure to cope, all right, with the population surge. They came up with a 25-year master plan, and in fairness, they've kept to it. New cities are being developed. Think about Lekki, even 25 years ago. Think about Eco Atlantic, which is a modern city, if you like. And of course, what that means is that it's going to take off a lot of the population pressure off Victoria Island and Ikoyi and move them there. All of these things mean that you have people who've been thinking around what does this mean on the infrastructure. Now, I know that there are big things coming up right now. Think of the roads that are being expanded. Think of what is going to happen to the public infrastructure. And I know that the government is planning to do something revolutionary as far as transportation is concerned in Lagos. My thinking is that if we continue like this, you will meet an ultra-modern city perhaps in another 15 years because you have consistent leadership, foresighted leadership that is taking into consideration what is happening as far as infrastructure is concerned. But I can only pray that the Almighty will grant the current leadership of Lagos the strength and the capacity to steer the affairs of the state to much, much greater heights.
I do think that there are many lessons that can be learned from the Lagos experience. I think that one of the people who did Lagos the greatest favors is a man called Obasanjo. General Olusegun Obasanjo, in choosing to hold back Lagos money.
People should understand that it is wrong to define Lagos as a state. Lagos is a country. Lagos is a country. And the success of Lagos as a country is the way the Yorubas welcome people who are not Yorubas and who do not come from Lagos State. Governor Tinubu defies party politics. He takes positions about Nigeria. He doesn't take position about AP or CPC or APC or whatever party is in office. The party is just a vehicle. If he is wrong, he will say, I am wrong. If he's right.
The goal is very clear. The road has been rough. The achievement has been great. I am very, very proud to be a foundation engineer, a foundation leader coordinating, and whatever has happened, I will commend those people. Leadership is about teamship and the vision. The vision must be clear. The team must be ready to work. Therefore, you need a thinker and a doer in every leadership position.
Lagos needs to continue to be a welcoming place.
Nah, man, I believe anybody can come from his village and make it big in Lagos.
Lagos State is a place for us. Lagos State is a place for us.